Hey, we're back for another episode of Oshikatsu Pod. Yay! So, we are on episode 6 of Chaser Game W, Season 2. I don't know, I haven't felt as excited for this season for some reason. Maybe because of all of the negativity that was caused from the fans bashing the production team. It has made me jaded and I just don't enjoy the drama as much. It's a shame because I enjoyed season 1 so much. Anyways, so let's go to the drama. So last episode, they were at Itsuki's mom or grandma's house and they wake up in the middle of the night. Yoram has left. So they're planning out their day. So they decide to go visit the university that they both attended, where they met. They pretend to be students when they get onto campus. And then there's just a lot of flashbacks of how they met and how they connected. So the day they met, they're walking on campus and Fuyu mentions that she likes playing video games, or she's tried after hearing that Itsuki loves games. She's a big gaming otaku, as she said. I guess they had to throw this part in because it's Chaser Game, and the production company who created this, it's a gaming company, actually. They create games mostly, but they've created manga as well. And I think this is probably their second drama. The first one was Chaser Game, which was a totally different story, and it was mainly centered around the gaming industry. That's what happened for season 1 for Chaser Game W. But they put a twist to it. They added a same-sex relationship between two women. I don't think they've realized that this relationship has overshadowed everything else that they wanted to do. I think their goal was to focus on the gaming industry as a whole and what issues that they face. And for season 2, we're not really getting much of that. So they're kind of they have to add it in, I guess. To me, it's a bit of an afterthought because I'm a gaming otaku, or I was. I don't play as much anymore. But growing up, I grew up with the NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PlayStation 1. So I'm a pretty big gaming nerd. There were times where my brother and we would sneak under the bed and we had this little portable TV and we would play Super Mario Brothers 3 late at night and our parents wouldn't know. Or maybe they did, I don't know. But there were times where we would just be playing under the bed. I have very fond memories of gaming in general and going to the local arcade and playing Street Fighter, Tetris, Mortal Kombat. And then through adulthood, I moved towards portables, handhelds. So I had a Game Boy. I had Game Boy Light, which was strictly only from Japan. I got it when I visited my senpai, actually. And what else did I have? I had what was the handheld version of the Genesis? Sega. Oh my god, I'm blanking. But Sega had one which was had Sonic games and Mortal Kombat, and that was color, and it was this big chunky black thing. So I had that. What else did I have? No. And then through adulthood, I've mainly just only played Nintendo. I'm kind of a big Nintendo geek. So, DS. I had almost all of the versions, but I've sold some of them. And exes when we broke up, they would take my my DS or whatever they had. So I have a lot of a gaming background. Then didn't play. I think I waited in line for a Nintendo Wii. So that was my last kind of major console that I bought. I also had the Xbox 360. I mainly bought it because of the motion thing that they had. And I only played that one dance game. I don't even know the names anymore, but that was fun. But I sold it. The thing made so much noise and the power brick was insane. So I sold that on eBay a while back. What else? Yeah, now it's mainly just Nintendo. So now I'm on Nintendo Switch. I've also purchased what did I get recently? There's a handheld by Analog. It's kind of an updated version of the Game Boy, and it accepts old cartridges. So that one is pretty fun. I also have this kind of, it's a very tiny black and white screen. It's called a Playdate. That one has a little crank on the side. It's very unique in the gameplay. So I have that. I'm just a big gaming nerd. Let me get back to the show. So there's a flashback, and Fuyu, she's accidentally knocks over the eraser, and then Itsuki shows up out of nowhere and then picks it up for her. And then this happens in some class that they're taking. It reminds me of when I first met my senpai. I took a class of Mandarin for one semester during college, 2-year college. I think that was my first year, I think. And I took Mandarin because I needed some language course for my degree or something like that. But I was already taking Japanese, and so I just took a semester of Mandarin. And it was a combo class, so different levels were in there because they just try to squeeze everyone into the one class because there was not enough demand, I guess. But there was our teacher, she was Chinese. She was also our Japanese teacher. I remember her name. I still remember her name because it's so unique. Her name was Kitty Shek. So I like Kitty. She was a very tough, strict teacher, but she liked me. So I had her for Mandarin, but then I also had her. She was also the Japanese teacher. So I had her for Japanese class also. But I had to cut the test into Japanese because I didn't want to take Japanese, I think 1 or 2. Something like that. But so she tested me before class to get into the Japanese class. So she just was flipping through her book and she was like, read this. So then I read it. Or she would say, what does this mean? And she would cuss some of my kanji knowledge as well. And I knew everything. And she's like, oh, you pass. So she let me into the class. Let me go back to how I met my senpai. So she was always by herself in the back. She was taking Mandarin, maybe the most advanced level. And then I think she was only one in her level. Maybe there was someone else. But then I was in Mandarin 1. And then I always noticed she was by herself. So one day I'm like, oh, I want to be friends with her. So I wrote her a letter in Japanese. And then one day after class, as she was leaving, I went up to her and then I gave her the letter. And then I don't remember much after that. I think she must have responded back. But yeah, we became really good friends after that. But a scene where Itsuki and Fuyu connect in the classroom, it just reminds me of that same, I had that same feeling I had. So Fuyu is at Itsuki's place, a game. She's playing Nikuni. This is on PlayStation 2. So I've always wanted to play that game, but since it was on PlayStation 2, I never did. It's just, I'm not the type of person to sit in front of a TV to play a game. It's just, I want to play a game when I'm out and about or waiting around, which is why I prefer handhelds, and the Switch is perfect for that. I don't know if they ported it over to other systems, but so they talk about, so she's playing a game, and then Itsuki makes the infamous cream stew, and Fuyu likes it. So then they talk about, they flashback, they're in the present now, and Fuyu asks Itsuki, so when did you first fall for me, right? So there was a scene where they went to the movies and then it started raining, so they like to run back to Itsuki's place, and then they're all wet, and Itsuki kind of, there's this moment where Fuyu is just drying her hair. She's fully clothed, and then I guess does it look sensual in a way? I don't know, but she's all wet, and Itsuki just looks at her like, wow. And Fuyu latches her, and she gets all embarrassed. So there's some chatter on Twitter about how it's a male gaze versus a female gaze. I think it's neither. I don't think it's sensual at all. It's just a moment that happens where if you swapped her out for a man, if you swapped Itsuki out for a male actor, I think it would have felt the same. There is no male gaze, there's no female gaze. There's like nothing sensual about this scene at all. So I just find it a bit strange that people are taking this act and assigning a gender to it. It's like very stereotypical, I guess. I don't agree with that. So then finally she blow dries her hair. So Itsuki blow dries Fuyu's hair, and Fuyu's just like kind of nodding off. And Itsuki, that's when she confesses and says, I like you. But she doesn't say anything, or she can't hear because she's kind of dozing off, and blow dry is hard. So maybe she's just purposely doing this. I thought that was a funny scene. And then they share a couple noodles later. And Fuyu's like, you say something earlier? I felt like you did. And she's like, no, I didn't say anything. And then the scene is interrupted by, what's his face? Kurokawa? The guy that asked Fuyu out on a date. So we go through that whole scene again. They replay it. And then we replay the scene where they're in the park, and Itsuki finally confesses again, and they share their first kiss. So that scene was kind of cute, but also it's a bit, I don't know if it's realistic because it's out in public. I don't think it's realistic in that sense. But maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. Is it realistic? I'm just thinking about it from my point of view, as if you were in the closet and scared of what people think, but who knows? It seems like no one's around, so then they kiss. But I don't know. I feel like there's a sense of it's not realistic here. It's a nice scene though. So then they kiss, and then we fast forward to their birthday. No, it's Fuyu's birthday. She can tell Itsuki wants Fuyu to spend the night, but she lives in the dorm and there's curfew, so she can't. But we know what's on your mind, Itsuki. What are you thinking about? So then she sends her off, sends Fuyu home, and the next day, or maybe it's a few days after, we don't know. The timing was, I can't tell. See Itsuki in bed, sick. So here's the thing. If you're, I think it's an Asian thing. They think that if you get cold or you get caught in the rain, that you can get sick. But no, you don't get sick from being cold. You get sick from viruses and bacteria. So I guess the Japanese believe the same thing. Oh, if you get cold, you're gonna get sick. That's not the case. Anyways, she's in bed. She has like perfect makeup on, which is like this unrealistic. Because if I were sick, it would be you look like a wreck. Snot everywhere, face all dry, hair a mess. And you're like haven't showered yet. But then you have Itsuki here. She's like perfect makeup. Her hair's all nicely styled, laying on the bed. But then Fuyu is there to nurse her back to health. And she even cooks her, it looks like porridge. Looks like maybe some Chinese porridge, like a rice porridge. And she feeds it to Itsuki, and it's too strong. She's like, oh, it's a bit intense. But she happily eats it because Fuyu made it. And then, so that was a cute scene. And then it's nighttime, and he's still there taking care of Itsuki. And she's like, Itsuki tells her to go back home because it's almost curfew. She might get in trouble. And Fuyu's like, no, I'll stay with you tonight. And they do some things, I don't know, some kissing. They hug, they kiss. But I think some people are grossed out when someone is sick. They're like, why would you kiss someone if they're sick? So when you love someone or you like that person a lot, it doesn't matter. Nothing will stop you. Then we see them later on in bed, and I guess something happened because they're both naked. But who knows what happens? They don't tell us. And then Itsuki tickles her in bed. And then they're back. Let's see. Oh, so then it's the career thing. So they talk about their future careers. So you see Itsuki playing the same game, Ni no Kuni, on the PlayStation 2. And then Fuyu looks very bored. I don't know why don't they play 2-player game? I think this is 2-player game. I don't know. Then make it more interactive. Like maybe have 2 of them playing together or something. There's 2-player games. So you can tell that Itsuki is slowly immersed in her gaming world. And she totally forgets that Fuyu even exists. And then she even tells her that. And Itsuki's like, no, I don't forget. So then they have them hugging tickle war thing. And we fast forward to they're in a rental office or a real estate agency, and they're trying to look for a place together. But it requires legal permission from the guardians. And he was, oh, I can't. My mom won't agree to this. So they never lived together. I think in season 1 though, they said that they did live together, but maybe it's not really official. They didn't get an apartment together, but Itsuki or Fuyu always visited Itsuki's place. So and there's this cute back hugging scene. And then finally we fast forward to their present, and Itsuki's let's all live together, like me, you, and Ski. And they kiss again. And fast forward 2 months later, Fuyu and Cole's divorce is finalized. And you have this scene between Itsuki, Fuyu, and Cole. So I think he's there just to tell Itsuki and Fuyu like, hey, I still want to be involved in Ski's life, so custody for Ski belongs to Fuyu, but he'll still be around. And he asks for permission, which I think is really, I would have liked a little bit more, some more of an emotional scene between them. I would have liked I would have liked Fuyu or Cole to have more of a emotional breakup, because Fuyu does, I think, love him in a way. So I would have a little bit more of maybe some kind of acknowledgement that their relationship means something to her, and maybe a hug or something. It felt a little bit cold at times. There was a little bit of an emotion there. But whenever your relationship ends, it's emotional. But yeah, it is what it is. So he stays in Japan, and he wants to work with animals. And then they're like, oh, so happy. And then they move in together, and we see all three of them. And it is Fuyu's birthday, and the cake is filled with strawberries. She loves strawberries. And I think, let's see, Itsuki says, so usually the line when you say happy birthday is Otanjobi omedetou. So that's like, it translates to happy birthday, but it's actually congrats on your birthday. But Itsuki changes it up, and she says Otanjobi arigato, which is not a usual thing to say, but she switches it around, and she's saying thanks for your birthday. In a way, thanks for being born, or thanks for the day that you're born. I think I looked at Gaga Baba's subs, and they kind of cut some of the lines in that a little bit. I would say I'm a bit biased here, but you should watch it with my subs. You'll get more bang for your buck. But Itsuki's just saying thanks for being born, thanks for spending time with me on your birthday. She's just saying thank you to Fuyu, and she's being grateful for this moment that they have together, because who knows when it'll end, or who knows when it would come. So she's just saying thank you instead of congratulations, which is more, when you say congrats, it's to the person, right? The other person is receiving, I don't know how to explain this. When you say thanks though, it's like something they did, right? But when you're saying thank you for allowing me, or for you being a part of my life. So it's more like, it's a different feeling. I don't know what I'm saying. Then let's go into previews. So previews show that they're finally eating together, or living together. And we see Fuyu working with Didisha again. But towards the end, we see the red lady. So she's back in the picture. I only have 2 more episodes, so I think she's gonna try to wreak havoc. Then we also see the scene where Tsuki is ashamed to admit that to Tsuki's, there's other parents at the school, and she's there to pick her up or to bring her home. And some parent says, oh, Tsuki's mother? Oh, nice to meet you. But she makes up some lie and says that she's Fuyu's cousin. So I think there's a bit of embarrassment, and she doesn't want to admit, or what is it, expose the relationship, because it might negatively affect Gi. So it's a little bit of, we're still in the closet, right? And it's a different vibe in Japan, I think. And also throughout the whole episode, when you see them together in college or at the university in present day, you see them holding hands a lot. So this is not them being out. They're not out and proud. It's in Japan, friends are very touchy-feely. So you will see friends holding hands. It's not anything sexual or anything like that, or it doesn't mean that they're in a relationship. It's friending. So this is very common. So I just wanted to point that out. So overall, this episode was it was not bad. It's better than last episode and better than episode 4. Let's see what happens in the next 2 episodes. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Subscribe. Bye.